Right now, 8% of those living on the streets or in homeless shelters are veterans. And while the number is much lower than it was 10 years ago, there's concern that homelessness for veterans and others could begin to rise in the age of the coronavirus.
Right here it is.
When we first met Earl Harris,
Welcome to my house.
he was living in this storage unit.
This is what I call home.
After spending 9 years serving in the Army, this is where his life ended up. Having spent time also sleeping in parking garages and even trash dumpsters.
Slept in many of them.
That was last September. His story fortunately ended with housing, thanks in part to the Welcome House in northern Kentucky. However, in the age of a pandemic with no clear end in sight, Welcome House CEO Danielle Amrine is seeing the impact of a shaky economy.
We actually had 2 veterans out in Boone County at our shelter out in Boone. We had a hotel shelter out there for a few weeks, and we encountered 4 veterans, and we were able to place 2 of those veterans in veteran housing.
Welcome House is currently awaiting word on a grant to fund and house 10 veterans in this building at the corner of Greenup and East 11th Street in Covington. And she says the need goes well beyond just veterans.
We've almost experienced a 400% increase in requests for assistance, whether it be food, shelter, basically just making ends meet.
And we're meeting new people every day who say that, something's happened in their financial situation due to COVID.
Morgan Coranda is the street outreach nurse for Welcome House.
It's been very important for us to see people's symptoms early and isolate them early and then test, and isolate as a precautionary measure and test later.
She travels around northern Kentucky in this RV, providing basic medical needs, resources, and virus testing at their shelters.
They don't have a place to quarantine, and likely if they do get COVID and they're not quarantined in a hospital, they're going to be continuing to do their normal routine, and then they will be at risk of passing that to others, even people who are not in the homeless population via bus stops, what door handles, whatever they may touch.
Danielle says they've served some 300 people since March and have had clients test positive for the virus.
Luckily for us, those have been limited, but we have had one specific one that was at one of the hotels that we were able to identify and then isolate, and then we have had a couple positives at our shelter for women and children.
Until there is a vaccine, her hope is to stave off anyone ending up living like Army veteran Earl Harris once did.
Several people are still out of work. They haven't got unemployment benefits, so we're concerned that we're going to see a spike in people that are going to be potentially homeless.
Well, like many nonprofits, they're also faced with the cancellation of any in-person fundraisers, critical dollars to be able to do their mission. Their annual Summer Sunday event is all online this year. I put the information out in the story on WCPO.com as well as my Facebook page, McKee WCPO.